local people, important issues. CBS 10 WILM's weekly focus on the Lower Cape Fear region. This is Byline Wilmington with your host, Don Ansell.
Welcome and a very good morning to you. Well, property taxes, the convention center, the city budget, and a lot more are on the table today for our discussion with our guest, the Mayor of Wilmington, Bill Saffo. Mayor, thank you so much for making time. I think I said off camera that you're so busy. I don't know quite how you are everywhere all the time and smiling.
It's a busy city and it's a growing city. And so the mayor's asked to do a lot of things, and I try to accommodate all the organizations and all the people out there.
Let's start off with the city's $84 million budget. Just went into effect July 1. The city maintains that the proposed spending plan is bare bones as possible. Which includes a property tax increase of 3 3/4 cents per hundred. And just for our viewers, that would be like a $69 increase on a $189 home.
Right.
So give us your thoughts on the budget and particularly the tax increase.
Well, it was a tough budget year. We've gone through, the last 3 years have been very tough. Last year we cut $6 million out of the budget. We went from $86 million to $80 million. The year before that we cut $4 million out of the budget. We have reduced the size of our workforce.
Without increasing taxes?
Without increasing taxes. And the last time the taxes were increased in the city of Wilmington was 9 years ago, just last year, because of the tax error in the county adjustment to the appreciation of homes.
That mistake in the reevaluation process.
Correct. But before that, the city had not raised taxes in 9 years. In fact, when I first got on council in 2003, we voted for the first tax decrease in a number of years. But going forward, we've had some pretty tough economic times, as our viewers know. We have lost our sales tax revenue, has come down over the last 3 years, $2.5 million. We've had increases in retirement pay for our employees. The state mandated.
When you say you lost city tax revenue,
sales tax revenue,
because
people are not shopping as much.
Consumer spending is down.
Correct. So $2.5 million over 3 years is a pretty substantial hit for the city. We've also had increases in retirement pay, retirement contributions that the state mandates to the cities. We've had increases, $600,000 in health care costs, premiums that of employees that have retired. We've had $500,000 in increases in our energy costs and gas for our vehicles. So you put all that together, in addition to the parks bonds and the transportation bonds that came due this year for new police station, new fire stations, new parks, new roadways. We looked and we were trying to find ways to see whatever we could do to cut. We were at a $7 million shortfall, and we cut $2 million by eliminating merit pay for our employees, as well as
no raises for city employees.
No
this
raises
year.
For city employees.
Well, two council members voted against the increase.
Right.
Did you have any conversation with them about how they would bridge that $5.7 million budget gap?
Well,
because I'm curious.
Well, we've had a series of budget retreats,
right?
And we're trying to solve this $7 million shortfall. We found $2 million that we eliminated. We had $5 million left. That was either going to have to do with some sort of a tax increase, or we're going to have to eliminate bodies, people, policemen and firemen predominantly, because they're the vast majority of our city budget. Out of the 794 employees that work for the city, over 500 of them are in fire and police. And so I felt personally, as the mayor of the city, I did not want to eliminate firemen and policemen.
Did those two council people that voted against the tax increase or the budget, did they want to decrease the number of essential personnel?
I don't think so. I mean, I can't.
They didn't give you a reason.
They didn't give me a reason. Mrs. Tomey did share with me that she would like to see us use some more fund balance from different funds that we have, that the city has in the
Well, there
parking
is that
fund.
rainy day fund.
There is that rainy day fund.
It's a reserve fund, and some people have suggested that the city tap into that.
And we have tapped into it in the last 3 years. We felt that we were in a position this year that we really couldn't tap into it. Our rainy day fund has been as low as 12%. The local government commission really wants to see us above 8%, but the city's has has a mantra that says we want to keep at least a minimum of 15%
Is
in
that what's
rainy
in there
day
now?
fund. It's about 16.8%. So we're a little bit over than what the city has said we need to be. And we don't know what's going to happen with hurricane season, and we really don't know what's going to happen with the state budget, because the other part of this is that the state is taking a little bit of money from us. Number one, they've taken our beer and wine sales. We get a certain amount of money from the ABC sales in this community, $400,000 from that particular pot of money, $400,000 that went to the state that would have come to the city. We've also lost $200,000 in PAL bill money. That's money that the state gives the cities to maintain roads. So we had a decrease from the state funding, and our concern, or my concern personally going forward, is we have a $525 million Medicaid shortfall that the state was thinking they were going to get some money from the United States, from the federal government, right, that has not been reimbursed. And we really don't know what's going to happen in the coming years with that, because the state still may come back to the city and take more of our franchise fee money, may take some more of ABC monies, may take more PAL bill money. So we had to prepare for that situation also, which could be an emergency.
Of course, we're in very hard economic times.
Sure.
We have been. The future is questionable.
Sure.
And there's two things you can do. You can either cut spending or institute a tax increase. And do you think people, if they would vote on it, and of course they don't, but would prefer a tax increase to maintain the level of services, or do you think they would rather see spending cuts?
I've seen it. I've heard it from different citizens. Some people said cut policemen and firemen, cut spending. We don't care what it takes, cut it. I've had other people says, don't ruin my quality of life. I want those policemen and I want those firemen on the street. Look, our policemen field over 177,000 calls a year in this community. Our fire department over 9,000 calls. Those people do a magnificent job. The number one service that municipalities provide, without a doubt, is public safety. That's why it's the largest part of our budget. I felt as the mayor that we couldn't go there. We've looked at every other department. We've made cuts in every department in the last 2 years, 5% last year in every single department. But we got to a point in this year's budget that we had to make some pretty tough decisions. We had to do a combination of cutting as well as increasing taxes to make certain that we are maintaining our infrastructure, that we're maintaining the service quality that our citizens have come to expect and want, and making sure that this city runs well. I mean, this is a large city today. We have over 100,000 people. This is not a small coastal community anymore. And we have reduced the size of our government. And I'll give you an example.
Well, we're going to take a break. Okay. Give us that when we come back. Also, when we come back, we're going to talk about a recent survey that indicated the majority of citizens don't trust government. We'll talk to Mayor Saffo about that and more when we come back. Stay with us.